Okay, welcome to this video. I'm going to show you real quick just how to do some different graphical user interface items. And one of the coolest things you can do is a button. And now, a JButton is actually a data type in Java, so it's just kind of like an int or a double. And so don't get scared by this. I've already declared you some of these here in your private member variables, but it's just like, whoops, I'm screaming at you. It's just like if you had said you wanted to declare an int named number, same thing. So if you're declaring this data type, JButton, and you've got one named red, you've got one named orange. Now, you've already got these declared here for you. What you want to do here is you're in a data type called ColorPicker, and here's your constructor. When everything is getting born, you want to at that moment get stuff set up. Let me show you how to do that. So I would say there's some setup here, there's some setup here, but what you want to do is you eventually want to set up these buttons. Now, just like you could do with an integer, like any data type, you declared it here, then you're going to talk about it and give it some value. And again, you don't have to tell it the data type again because you already declared it here by saying the data type here. You just talk about the name and then give it a value. But the name that you're going to talk about is red. That's the name. And then you have to actually call the constructor for his data type. And I'm going to put this here. That'll just show that's the name that you want, or the word that you want displayed on the button. Now this is really depressing because when you run this, it's going to be sad because you're not going to see that button. Right? You've got this. There's no button. It's depressing. Now, just because you created the button doesn't mean that it's actually on the frame. So you have to do it. You have to actually get it added on there as well. So you've got some other components here. You have a panel. That panel is where we're going to do some color stuff. But then what we have here, this button pane. That button pane is in the south. You can't really see it just now because there's nothing on it. But that button pane is in the south. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this red button, we're going to add it to the button pane before we put the button pane in the south of the frame. So that's kind of a weird workaround. And technically we wouldn't have to worry about this if there was just one thing, but you're restricted. You can only put one thing in the south. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a bunch of things on the button pane, and then that way we can put the button pane on the south. We can fit lots of things in there. Now, that's kind of just how you set up your button. It's not all that exciting right now. It shows up. It doesn't actually do anything, but it will show up. Now what you're going to do is I'm going to let you end this video, and before you start the next one, what I would like for you to do is see if you can replicate this process and get lots of buttons to show up down here in the bottom pane. Now I'm going to tell you this right here means that it's going to lay things out in 3 rows and 2 columns. You can change that if you would rather have it some other layout. But what this does is that button pane has this grid layout, and that way I don't have to tell it where to put the red. It will just put it in this grid that's already been created on the button pane. So I'm going to end this video. Before you start the next one, your assignment is to get those buttons kind of added to the bottom and make them show up visually. Have fun.